Hello everyone, and welcome to the presentation, Defining Your Business Identity, Mission, Vision, Values. I'm Manuel Palachuk, entrepreneur and business coach, and I'll be your host and speaker for this presentation. This is a companion presentation to another presentation of mine entitled Culture and Compass, Cultivating a Successful Environment for Your Employees and Clients. When I was in post-production of the presentation on Culture and Compass, I realized some information I was trying to include was really meant for a different but closely related discussion. That discussion is the actual formation of your business identity, the mission, the vision, and the values. Instead of waiting and releasing a whole new webinar, I chose to break out the slides not so closely related to my ultimate point for the Culture and Compass presentation, expand on them, and build this presentation. Well, here it is. Those who have listened in on my presentation already know that I'm going to skip over the intros and such, but for those who are listening in for the first time, here's how it works. I'm going to skip all the regular reminders, history, biography, and credentials, so that we can speed things up and spend more time on the content and follow-up questions. I believe you've all been on a lot of webinars, and if you're interested in who the speaker is, you can just Google them or hit their website. I'm no different. We're going to get straight into the good stuff, but I have two mandatory items. One, there is nothing for sale at all on this training. No lead up, no sales pitch, no big call to action. You've all been on calls where it's half sales and half content or even less. I do have 2 pages of resources listed on the last slides, but I'm here to give you a lot of great content and no big sales pitch. So please, don't feel like you need to drop off early to avoid the big pitch and call to action at the end. There isn't one. Stay for the questions and answers. Number 2, please do yourself a favor and block out all distractions. I'm going to be discussing some of the best strategies I know for business success, and if you can focus on all of it without distraction and soak it all in, I believe it really could help take you and your team and your business to the next level. So now we're going to skip this slide and this one and this one. I want to point out the immense power of having a defined business identity because so many startup companies pass it by and think it doesn't matter. There are so many companies out there that are moving along just fine and they have no defined mission, vision, and value statement. But I and every business coach and business consultant know that companies who do define these things have one of the most important beacons of leadership you could have for your business. In many circles, the absence of a clear and defined mission, vision, and value statement is an indicator of your business maturity. Not having anything obviously indicates low maturity and a misunderstanding or underestimation of its power. Once again, I begin with my statement that if you are in the MSP or IT service business, you have in fact chosen a business in one of the most demanding and most competitive industries of today's economy. I constantly try to drill home the fact that for you to stay in business, you have to constantly be marketing and innovating to keep up. And if you actually want to thrive and get ahead, you have to create a competitive advantage. What makes a strong company? What makes a company strong? Who survives an economic downturn? Good companies and bad companies? It all depends on the strategy and your execution. Of course, a determining factor may also be how close you get to the leading edge of technology and how close you call it on finance and cash flow. Those who have made a solid plan and convey that plan to their entire team will have a significantly greater competitive advantage over their competitors. That's all strategy. The real big caveat, of course, is execution. If you can't execute, no great plan or strategy will get you anywhere. I made the statement in the Culture and Compass presentation that no really big company ever got big without a mission and vision statement, and if their culture and compass were not set or cared for, they are either not very respected in the industry today or they're not in the industry today. Over the next 45 minutes or so, I'm going to ask all the big questions of you that will help you clarify your mission, vision, and values. And they will help you identify your target market and solidify your strategy for success. Along the way, I will point you to some superior tools to help you not only hone in on your strategy, but to also help you set goals, measure progress, and move towards success. I'm going to highlight several very important and influential must-read books. You can even consider them as homework. I always have to ask the most important question. If I can help you draw a perfectly clear picture of your mission, vision, values, strategy, and target market, could that picture, if properly conveyed, be what rallies your entire team and company to one well-defined purpose and propel you to the next level? As always, I know it can. Here's a quick rundown of the presentation. You may want to do a print screen so you can take some notes or just keep track of the progress of the presentation. The four major subjects of discussion are your business validation and assessment, your competitive advantage, your competitive strategy, and tools for your success toolbox. This maturity level graph is nowhere near complete. I've only keyed in on some of the top factors and elements commonly used to determine your company maturity level. Cash flow. Cash is king. Operating with a thin cash flow is restrictive and can handcuff a company. Excellent cash flow gives you lots of choices and options and room to move. Defined and documented processes are very high on the list. Why? Repeatability and reproducibility equal profit and value. Project process maturity. If you cannot complete a project on time with minimal uncontrolled fallout, you will not make money and you cannot be trusted with your client's critical systems. I discussed it in some detail in the Culture and Compass presentation, and I will mention it here again. As Jim Collins says, first who and then what. The talent you cultivate for your company directly affects how you mature as a company because they are both the people who build and innovate and move you to the top. Now, it doesn't matter where you are on this graph. In some ways, it's easier on the lower levels because there's less pressure to squeeze out more efficiency and bigger gains. At lower levels, there's nearly infinite room for improvement. So, where are you on this maturity level? And don't forget, many companies really think that they are at a level 3 or 4 when they are really not even breaking out of level 2. If you don't already know where you're going with your business or are at a turning point, we have to make some assumptions or come to some decisions about it. Are you going to be bigger than a one-woman or a one-man shop in the near future, or are you already? By the way, all of the upcoming discussions are still relevant for a one-person shop. It's just that if you are a one-person shop, you have much more time to come to conclusions and decisions than a company who is actively propelling for the stars. Let's look at the book, The E-Myth Revisited by Michael E. Gerber. I bring this book up for several reasons, including that it's a great must-read for anyone who is setting out to start a business, and because it provides some context for all of our future discussions here. One big premise of the book is that you need to turn your business into something that will work for you and has retained value. You need to learn to start working on the business instead of in the business. Gerber points out that once a business grows beyond a certain comfort zone, there are only 4 possible responses. Get small again. Take the business back or keep the business small where everything is always much easier. This is the natural solution for most technicians who have turned owners. And it's okay too. I know many people who have just been chugging along in their one-person shop for 15 years or even more. Another option is to go for broke. Try and grow the business fast enough that it will generate enough cash to hire the resources needed to manage itself. Another option, hang in there in the hope that some sort of order will ultimately emerge from all the chaos and carnage the business has become unwittingly. Last, move the business through to maturity by the business owner being willing to learn new skills and assume different priorities for the use of his or her time. Once you've decided to go for it, build your brand, document everything, especially your processes. Again, they help define the maturity of your business. My goal isn't to do a complete book review, so I'm going to leave it at that. If you haven't read the book, I consider it a must read. If you have read the book and I've missed some of your favorite points, please forgive me. Now let's talk a little bit about who is on your team and where you're going. I refer to the book Good to Great by Jim Collins. I covered this book in greater detail in the companion presentation Culture and Compass, but I must reiterate some key concepts for this book that once again provides some context for all of the future discussions. And like the E-Myth Revisited, it's a must-read for anyone who runs a business or intends to get one going. The major concepts he covers are good is the enemy of great. Basically, setting for mediocrity will be your downfall. If you want to get to the next level, you must go for great. He points out that level 5 leadership is what gets these companies to where they're going, and it's nothing less than the best people that you can afford, and if you can't afford them, you're not getting to the top. You have to create a culture of discipline, and the discipline is execution. He discusses the hedgehog concept, and the hedgehog concept is very straightforward in that it is, what can we make money at? in this market or this environment? What are we passionate about? What do we really want to do for a living, and what do we like to do? And what do we really believe that we can be the best in the world at? All of his studies indicate that the companies that could find all of these points and bring these things together exhibited what is referred to as the hockey stick effect in their business takeoff. That they meandered along and did okay and maybe had some progress, but when they got everything right, they launched into the absolute top of their industry. There are two more books I covered in great detail in the companion presentation, Culture and Compass, but once again I must reiterate some key concepts from them as they provide important context for all of the future discussions here. First, the book Drive, The Surprising Truth About What Motivates Us by Daniel H. Pink. Throughout the book, Daniel reveals the key elements of what really drives people: engagement, autonomy, mastery, and purpose. These are values, driving elements of your culture and your compass, and they are required for you to get to the next level. If you're striving for first who, then what, start here. Find the right people, get them engaged, give them their autonomy, rely on their mastery, and they will be bound by purpose to create great things and immense value that you offer to your clients. Daniel also mentions some insight that cannot be just skimmed over. He describes how companies who have purpose goals had happier employees and better overall productivity. Also, he discusses how the profit and the purpose motive can become, as he calls it, unhitched, resulting in, as he puts it, just not good stuff. Further, he shows how those companies who focused on profit goals, even though they met those goals, had higher anxiety, depression, and other negative indicators. Second, the book Execution, The Discipline of Getting Things Done by Ram Charan and Larry Bossidy. Larry Bossidy spent more than 30 years rising into executive power at General Electric. The entire content of this book talks about creating a culture of execution, and guess what? It all relies on finding the right people and taking care of them, cultivating them, and working to their strengths. I hope it's clear why we need to focus on our talent. They are the heart and soul of the business, and they will be what either make or break our business. I mentioned a minute ago how the company is bigger than just you. The minute you realize this and believe it, it becomes imperative that you get the vision of this big, beautiful thing out of your head and onto paper. The minute you do, you can share it with others, and they can help you fill in the missing pieces if they're allowed to do so. You can talk about it with others in detail, and best of all, you can pin it up on the wall and point to it every time there is a discussion about where we're going. Now, to ask you some of the right questions, give you some powerful tools, and stimulate your thinking on culture, compass, mission, and vision. By now, we have made some assumptions that you're in the business you love, IT, and along with it, service delivery. You believe you can make money doing this, so the only question is, can you be the best in the world at it? Luckily, the ocean you live in is big enough that you have a lot of choices as to where you swim. This is a quick breakdown of some of the numbers for small businesses in the U.S. For the UK, Australia, South Africa, India, they are very well different from the U.S., but those numbers will likely reveal an even more favorable opportunity than what we see here in the U.S. And if you are in some other location, you can, I'm certain, get localized census data depending on where you're at from your government in some way, shape, or form. What we know is that there are over 6 million businesses in the United States of size of under 1,000 people, and that's a huge number of business. But the majority of them are in the break-fix mode, and some are in responsive, fewer in proactive, less in managed, and less in the value category. And we'll get into some more detail about these things in a minute. But the idea is that where you choose to do your business down here in the break fix or responsive or proactive or managed, it will determine your target market, but it also will determine many other things about your business. And I will encourage, of course, that you move as far to the right as you can. And when you do that, what you do is you create this pole that all of your clients, as you take care of them and work with them, if they're break fix, you're trying to move them towards responsive. If they're responsive, you're trying to pull them towards proactive. And if they're on up the chain. So the idea is continuous incremental improvement, and that we are constantly trying to get to the next level in our business. So that gives us the ability to work with companies higher up on the scale. And going back to my discussion about you choosing where you swim in this big ocean, yes, there is a whole lot more business down at the break fix end, but it's going to be a bigger dogfight for clients and price cutting and throat slashing and everything else. And if you're constantly moving and if you're constantly striving to be on the far right of the scale, you have exclusivity, you have higher rates that you can charge, higher value that you can provide to your clients. And many of the clients that are down in the break fix and responsive, they're not even your clients. You take care of people who are level 4 and level 5. And my final note on this is, don't forget that if you're a level 2 or a 3 company, you're not likely going to be able to handle or manage a level 4 or 5 client. It's just not realistic. They will be able to tell that you don't have the skill set, the manpower, the knowledge, the processes, the business maturity to provide for their needs, because if they're doing business right, they're headed for the next level up as well, or refining the top level that they're at. There are several questions that must be answered in earnest before you can really make some of the serious decisions on your company future and strategy, and here's another one. What will be the goal for profit, and to what extent will you sacrifice value to the client in exchange for that profit? There should always be a balance, and it must be sustainable and realistic. For your business, you should try to run it as a zero-sum game. That means for everything that you pull off the profit side of the scale, you add something to the value side, and everything that comes from the value side of the scale should go to profit side. Of course, your improvement on process and cutting costs and overall efficiency will allow you to drive both profit and value up, and hopefully you do continue to keep the profit and value scale balanced. It's in everybody's best interest, but I will show you specifically where it is of strategic interest to you and your business in the upcoming slides. Now, forgive me if you already know everything about the value chain, but some do not, and it's important to our discussion and your business identity and strategy. In a book called Competitive Advantage, Michael Porter discusses the value chain. It's pretty straightforward in its layout and meaning. He breaks down first that we have supporting activities and primary activities in our business. Supporting activities are obviously the company infrastructure, human resources, technology development, and procurement. The human resources, by the way, I always refer to it as the people processes and things like that are categorized there. Technology development has to include, that's your innovation. And primary activities are your inbound logistics, operations, outbound logistics, marketing and sales, service. Operations, if you were a production company, would be you producing or building this thing. If you're in the service industry, your production is largely your service or your hours that you sell. The idea behind the value chain is pretty straightforward in that you manage your company and the supporting activities and keep them to the minimal cost required to support your primary activities that actually drive your profit. And if you do eke out a profit, you get to decide whether you push some of that profit back in to value for your clients, or if you put it into your pockets or distribute it however you choose to. Now, the key to the value chain is that you, no matter where your business is, what market, what industry, or who your clients are, they all operate along the same premise, and that is that for you to have a sustainable business, you have to manage your company, your supporting activities, your primary activities, and have a margin, and you can stay in business, and you get to continue to be part of the value chain. As we expand on the value chain, what we can see is that the value that we create and give to our clients, they use it to do the same thing we do with the value that our vendors give us. They create profit and value in the margin, and they pass on value to their clients, and so on and so on. Expanding our view just a little bit farther, and we see that even the partners that we have in our business and our clients' partners and our vendors' partners are also part of the value chain. We support each other vertically in our channel and horizontally in our market, whether it's value or pricing from our vendor partners or support from our channel partners. We use it to leverage and increase our value within everything we do, whether it's our supporting activities or primary activities. Again, to make our respective margins that much thicker, of course, resulting in profit and value, which we distribute however we see fit. Now let's add all of the competitors that are out there, your clients' competitors, your partners' competitors, your vendors' competitors. If you think you can get away with gouging the market or minimal value, good luck with that. The system that we navigate within, this business fabric, is self-correcting and self-repairing. As I mentioned in the Culture and Compass presentation, and I'll say it again here, no really big company ever got big without a mission and a vision statement, and if their culture and compass were not set or cared for, they are either not very respected in the industry today or they are not in the industry today. You have to set and affirm your mission and your vision, and they must be with the intention of a balanced profit and value. If you're a small business and you're trying to tip the profit and value scale, you'll be one of the first to go out of business the next time we have an economic downturn. I guarantee it. These are the companies that disappear first and fastest. And that's assuming you don't just get shoved out of business in general because of the way you do business. Why, you ask? Here's why. When you run your margins so absolutely thin because you are trying to be so competitive at the low end of the scale and undercut everybody and may actually be overpromising the value that you provide, when it comes time, your profit will be so low and your value so low that you have no room to move when the economy turns down or when someone with much greater value steps in and stands next to you. When your clients look and compare the two of you, they will absolutely go with who has the best value for that same dollar. Remember, folks, we're not selling cell phone covers or tacos here. We're selling hands-on technical service to our clients that is the infrastructure that they rely on in their business to provide value to their clients. We set the value, we set the standards, and the clients select us based on our level of standards and our quality and our values. The final words, keep value in front of profit and show it to your clients, and your clients will keep you in their chain. I promise this is the last iteration of the value chain, but you need to know that the world is a fabric of small businesses, and their alignment with each other is directly determined by their mutual culture and compass. So now let's figure out where our profit-value ratio meet up with our hedgehog concept. I do hope you've all seen this before. Its use was first thought up by Michael E. Porter, and he discussed it in his book, Competitive Strategy. A gentleman by the name of Bauman expanded on the original concept to be a full circle clock and not just a square. This is the first of 4 items I will cover that should be considered when you're working up your business identity and strategy, but it should also help you focus on exactly what your service and product offerings will be. There is a place in the market and on this clock for every vendor and for every customer. There will always be new clients, there will always be new vendors, but where you select to stand on the circle or the clock determines your competition and your market. White glove service with a fully staffed 24/7 help desk, and at what cost per desktop or server? All you can eat remote maintenance but on-site costs extra plus 24/7 help desk? You come up with a recipe for service offerings and then figure out where you want to be standing on the clock and therefore your pricing. Or maybe better yet, you look at the competition out there and base your offerings and pricing on where they are all not congregated, where there's more room to move around. The reason I chose this particular element for your strategy to cover first is this. Most people who decide to go out on their own and into business for themselves start with one overwhelming notion. I can do a better job at delivering this kind of service or building this type of product. So that means they all have thoughts of grandeur and greatness that would pinpoint them at the very tip top of this clock, mid-range pricing at the highest value possible. So how is it that so many conversations among small business owners is about how competitive the market is and everyone is cutting prices and driving them down? How is it that in reality everyone is crowded down at the bottom of the clock and actually a little to the left, closer to the low value and low price, fighting for scraps? I hope that when you find your spot on the clock, you make a conscious decision to own that spot. If you move, it's because you found a better spot higher up on the vertical axis, value. This is the second of 4 items that should be considered when you're working up your business identity and strategy. And again, it should also help you focus on exactly where your service and product offerings will be. This is a commonly accepted maturity model for infrastructure. Notice in level 1, user-driven, who shouts the loudest. The focus is on avoiding downtime and nothing more. Knowledge not shared. Level 2, we actually have knowledge silo exists. Problem-driven instead of just whoever yells the loudest. We move to level 3. It's request-driven. The focus is on actually adopting standards and best practices. Level 4 is service-driven. We're looking at and focusing on efficiency. Level 5, where everybody likes to think that they are, where everybody would like to be one day. Strategic asset, driven service innovation, value-driven. The focus is on becoming a catalyst for innovation. That's where the value is. That's where the value that your clients want and that you should be trying to give them. There's a paradox that actually exists here, and that's when you're a level 3 provider, that you have level 3 down pat, and you're trying to service clients who are level 5. Your clients will see that you don't have the skill set and the talent within your company or the capability to service them properly, and they'll likely move on or switch you out. But if they see that you are fast moving towards level 4 and level 5, they may keep you on, but you are what will hold them back if they let you. Conversely, if we have clients that are level 1, which is basically break fix, and they're not willing to start to move towards level 2 of reactive and proactive and on to service, as we move forward and progress as an MSP, we have to either leave them behind or give them to someone else, or they will hold us back. Now, it's fair to say if you take on a client who is at level 1 and their goal internally as a business, their culture, their compass, their mission, their vision, and their values say that they have to get to reactive and onto proactive and into service so that they can become the best competitor in their market, in the business that they run, and they know that and they're working towards that, they're an ideal client. Get them on board and help them march forward and up the ladder to the next level as soon as possible. It's the ones who have no intention of doing that that will hold us back when it's time for us to move to the next level. Look at it from a perspective of the value chain, and you should see that it's not in anyone's best interest to have too large of a gap here from the level of the clients that we service and our level as an MSP. I hope you realize that the statements I'm making are driven by the fact that it's a very rare company that can have such a broad coverage of services and do any one of them very well. Now, I will discuss in a minute how you deal with this large discrepancy in level of maturity, but suffice to say, you are looking for a sweet spot of value and profit and culture and compass. And where does the highest value come from? It comes from you internally running your infrastructure way up at level 4 and 5 and having a high value that you pass on to your clients and helping them run at a high level of 4 or 5 and passing their value on to their clients. And you'll also find that at level 4 and 5, you have a lot higher margin projects going on instead of the thin margin for the chaotic, reactive, and proactive work that you would be doing for these other clients I'm telling you should absolutely be giving away. This is the third of 4 items that should be considered when you're working up your business identity and strategy. This too should also help you focus on exactly what your service and product offerings will be. What is your company's tolerance for risk? How close to the edge can you get? Safe and steady or running with scissors? Again, this is something that will determine who can and will be your clients and who will not. It will also determine your company's technology pace and highly influence your culture. The talent you bring on need to be able to pull off everything you say you're going to get into and support it. Recall our previous discussion. Are our ideal clients technology dependent or technology strategic? Do they need bleeding edge tech? Can we do bleeding edge technology? You set the dial here. The most important points here are that the closer to the leading edge, the left of the curve, the more it costs in entrance fees and mistakes. Much like the maturity model, you can't be hanging out at the cutting edge trying to care for clients who are all way at the back of the curve. It's a waste of your talent and technology, and it reduces the value of what you can give your clients who are more clearly aligned with you on this side of the curve. Conversely, the opposite is true. If your clients are all on the cutting edge side of the curve and your business is on the far opposite end of the curve where the laggards hang out, you're trying to care for and advise a customer whose systems you may not fully understand and that you are more likely to break than fix. And how can you really tell a client how to be cutting edge when the first time you actually put hands onto the devices that they use that are cutting edge won't be until they order them for you to install. Yes, people and companies do it all the time, and when it goes bad, it goes very bad. I'm not saying you can't do it, but I guarantee you a significantly stronger business and bottom line if all these things are in alignment. Where you stand on the technology adoption curve is a very important element of how you will differentiate yourself from your competitors. And where your clients sit on the technology adoption curve is a very important element of what business strategy you must develop. This is the last of the 4 items that should be considered when you're working up your business identity and strategy. Now here's where most companies get their culture tainted and their compass misaligned. Recall how I told you Daniel Pink mentions in his book Drive about the profit motive getting too far out in front of the purpose motive. You end up with what he calls just not good stuff. Now it's hard to keep the profit motive out in front of the purpose motive when you've simply set your prices for your services and products too low on the Bauman strategy clock to start with. When it's only in the face of the competition and the desire not to lose out in one of the arenas indicated here that we get the purpose well behind the profit. Think of this as the pull from all directions on the very fabric that is woven of the value chain. What are you willing to do to keep your customers, partners, and channels? Will you sacrifice your people to do it? Will you sacrifice your integrity and core beliefs to do it? Will you slip down the side of the value price clock we discussed earlier, only to settle in at the bottom with your lowest level competitors at the very bottom where the fighting is the toughest? I hope not. Most people and most small companies have this notion that there is a very limited number of clients available to them. They're starving for clients, always losing out to the competitors, can't turn a profit. That they have to do whatever it takes, including continuing to do business with mean people, people who don't pay on time, people who don't appreciate their work, or are mean to their technicians, or even to themselves, the business owners. None of that is true. None of it. Now, some of you may not like this next statement, but I'm okay with that. Where the real problem may lie is in that the sole proprietor or small business owner is so hell-bent on being their own boss, in charge of their own future, and having to answer to no other, they have forgotten or neglected the first rule of business. Rule number 1 of business is that you must start with a valid business plan showing you have done the math and that you can in fact make money in this business, in this place, doing or selling this thing. If that is no longer true, or if you're misled even by yourself, the problem is not a lack of clients to support you, it's a lack of focus on reality that you do not actually have a valid business plan. I refer back to the books E-Myth Revisited and Good to Great. You could not be in this business vying for clients if you have not done the proper groundwork to validly indicate that you should even be in business, let alone this business. My view and my position is this. There are almost 6 million small businesses out there in America. I don't know how many are in Canada, Australia, UK, India, South Africa, or wherever you call home turf. If your business is small and your clients are most likely small and typically local, you must remember that the majority of your true competition in your market are no different than you. They too are marketing for new business and trying to grow. But do they have focus and a plan? Have they found their hedgehog concept? And do they have culture and compass? Remember, the whole point of this presentation is to give you a significant, clear, competitive advantage by knowing where you will do business, who you want to do business with, and what your values are. These are the things that will differentiate you from your competition. A final note on the perception of competition. Don't forget that your competitors are hunting and gathering as you are, but they can't eat everything they kill. They too have a practical limit to the amount of new business they can take on and properly service, even if they are out marketing you. It would be like saying, we're closing up our burger stand because the taco shop across the street seems to be a better place to eat. And the answer is, learn to make a better burger, and in the meantime, realize that when things get busy, that taco stand is not going to be able to feed everyone in the area every day. And of course, not everyone likes tacos. Adaptability is the key to survival in biology, ecosystems, and in business. This particular subject could go on for hours because it's so complex, but we do have to draw the line on what we can cover in this presentation, so let's move on. A major factor in getting your business to the next level is narrowing your target market to focus on the ideal client for your business. Not everyone gets to be your client. You have to align the definition of the box with your company strategy and tolerability for risk. Our ideal and preferred client is IT dependent, $50,000 annual recurring revenue, 1 server, 5 workstations, pays on time as agreed, actively participates in their IT health, respects and trusts our advice, we're a trusted advisor, likes us and our services, we do business with people we know, like, and trust, and they do not mistreat our employees. Now, this is just my example, and the top 3 items you want to set to whatever you want them to be as far as the annual recurring revenue minimum for a given client or the number of servers and workstations. And I only put IT dependent at the top of the list because really you only want clients who are dependent on their IT infrastructure. If they're not, they're probably not going to care what level they're at. They are literally going to be stuck at level 1. And everything else that I've put on the list is about the culture and compass of your company and the environment you want to set for your employees and your talent that you care so much about. The box and the definition of who our ideal clients are is a natural throttle and filter to the influx of business. I frequently hear business owners going on about how they have 20 new clients to onboard, but no time or staff to do it. Well, raise the bar on your target market and find a nice home for those below the line. Assuming, of course, you can't get them to sign an MSP agreement or buy in for even the lowest level package. The term I use is this: set them on a corrective path to help them fit in the box, much like what you should do with one of your talented employees who's getting off track. Drop those clients who do not, cannot, or will not fit in the box and make room for those who do. Stop chasing every nickel that rolls down the sidewalk and start grabbing the folding money that's being handed to you. Who do you give them to? You give them to the people in the area that you are partnered with that do accept and care for clients of this type. You give them to the companies that are smaller than you and thrive on this type of business. After all, they certainly couldn't handle the bigger clients you're going after, but they can serve these smaller clients very well. This is the downstream value chain. Now, if you're still telling me you don't have enough business to even have this problem, please reach out to someone to help you figure out if you're in the wrong area, wrong business, or what exactly the problem is. And if you just don't believe there is enough business out there to be had, please review the previous discussion on the MSP maturity scale and opportunities. One last bit of insight before we put everything we've discussed so far together. I went over the subject of focus at good length in the companion presentation, Culture and Compass. I will summarize and repeat only parts as they apply to our ultimate goal of figuring out what our mission, vision, and values are. In today's world, we must focus on more than just our little business and the small piece of space we occupy. We need to have clarity, and we need to see the entire landscape in which we navigate. Sometimes seeing the true big picture is not as easy as we think. We believe we are taking it all in, but we're not. And failure to take in all that we are part of and all that we affect in life or in business will mean we are out of balance. I refer to the book by Daniel Goleman entitled Focus. I also refer to almost every book ever written by the management master Peter Drucker, who introduced the concept of a social sector for business that would supplement the existing public and private sector and fill in a great need that exists in our world culture. The major points that were cultivated by these two were that Drucker is trying to tell us that the corporate participation in the advancement and protection of the environment and our social systems is not only good, but it is in our future. It answers the question of who will provide for the important needs of a society at large without having to become a socialist nation. Goleman is trying to tell us that we cannot ignore the social and economic and ecological aspect of the larger world around us, regardless of the size or location of our business. Now, we may not be able to affect these things on a grand scale, but by caring and being involved in any way, regardless of our political or ecological thinking, it endears us to our community and it allows us to be part of something bigger than just our little business. If you are a small company whose business is all local, it's even more important that we are coupled to something in the community, and you would be surprised how it can help your market and the outward appearance of your company. I personally guarantee it will mean a lot to the upcoming generations who will be coming to work for you tomorrow. You must understand and develop all of these focuses as described and decide what will be your company involvement, concern, stand, and action on each of these focuses, especially the outer focus. This is where it all comes together. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of pyramids out there for depicting your business strategy, culture, and anything about your business you can imagine that needs to be presented for visibility. Build your own, stack it however you like, as long as you build it. For the pyramid of purpose, I prefer to keep it simple. I only want these 5 items. If I had a 6th level at the bottom, it would be a triad of people, process, and culture. Again, ask any business advisor, website, coach, business major, or anyone you want to, and you will get a different answer of what this pyramid should have in it and how it should be stacked. It's your pyramid, stack it however you want. All I care is that you get this nailed down and paint it up. Your success depends on it. Now, you most likely notice how I saved the actual discussion of mission, vision, and values for the end. I promise you there is method to the madness. It's really quite simple. Of course, we start at the ground level. Step 1. We, ourselves or our team, first decide who we are going to work for, our target market, who we want to sell or support. The majority of our discussion was on the major aspect of deciding this based on risk, price, etc. We build the box. We determine our hedgehog concept. All of this has to be clarified before we can strategize or set out on a mission and paint the big picture we call our vision. Step 2. We build strategies for how we will actually make money and establish our presence in this target market. Step 3. We document the important values we as an individual, team, or company have and that we feel must be maintained. They are meant to be the internal or external values that are not to be compromised. Internal, integrity, nice people, etc. External, product quality, service level, etc. If we've laid out some of our core values ahead of time as a person or team or company, they can help guide us as we make decisions on our strategies, but they really cannot all be solidified until we are clear on what we're selling, to whom, and how. Step 4. We decide on our mission. What is it we want to do for you, our clients? I tell you, this can be harder than deciding where along the technology curve you want to do business. It's like that horrible question you get asked at interviews. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? And sometimes it's as simple as, we want to create raving clients. That was the mission of a company I worked for. It's simple and it drives people to a cause. We just want to be great at what we do and to the point you love us. Don't kill yourselves here. Get help, ask a friend, brainstorm with the team, let your company decide the mission based on what you have so far. They may surprise you. Look at the mission from other companies out there. They say plagiarism is the best form of flattery. Just be sure to add some of your own heart to it. Step 5. Now this one is extremely hard. Your vision is quite often something only you can see, but as I pointed out earlier on, you have to get this thing out of your head and share it. Talk about it. Write down what you think and talk about it with your circle of advisors or coach or team. Distill everything down to the few statements that best describe your vision. It can be multiple paragraphs. It should be a statement of what you would like to see the great industry or target market you serve look like if you could complete your mission for each and every one of them. Again, look at the mission of other companies out there. It could be anything you want. Now, I have to give an example here or I'll get 100 emails or so. I may as well use my own mission, vision, and values for my company because I know them best, and I happen to be very proud of my pyramid of purpose. I'm not going to get into the details in the target and strategy, just enough to give you the idea. Also, when you're actually sharing your pyramid with someone else, you typically start at the top and give your vision first, and then work your way down the supporting levels. But I'm going to give you my examples from the ground up, because that's what we're doing, is building our pyramid from the ground up. Target market: small and medium MSPs, VARs, and IT providers. Strategy: build quality, relevant educational content to help small businesses build better processes. Leverage social media and marketing to expand my following. Promote partnering throughout the industry to strengthen the value chain of the industry as a whole. Advocate high integrity in every business I work with to help elevate the persona of all IT and MSP providers everywhere. Values: integrity, compassion, passion, knowledge, which I equate to study, experience, which I equate to practice, and collaboration. My mission: to take you and your business to the next level, and I have the blueprint to do it. My vision: a solid fabric of small businesses around the world woven of strong culture and compass with a dedication to quality products and services. Now, if you've managed to fill in all the blanks, it doesn't mean it's in balance or that you're done. We have to check that all of this is in order and in harmony. Of course, I have a few simple tools to help you, and that's up next. Once we have it all figured out, where we're going, who is our client, what is our target market, what are our strategies, we need to set goals and gauge progress. The Balanced Scorecard, Translating Strategy into Action by Robert S. Kaplan and David P. Norton. This is a book that was written some time ago, and it's still very relevant in business management today. I really don't want to oversimplify it, but by the same token, most businesses, small businesses at that are out there running have no idea what it is or how to use it or that it even exists. So I can't go too wrong by telling you, at its simplest, the intention is this. You build a structure by which you can gauge your progress in your financial, your customer, learning and growth, and internal process categories of your business. And if everything that we've talked about previously, your maturity models, are all kind of in alignment, it means that you can gauge your progress and see to it that things are moving forward. To put it to use at its simplest, we can supplement the scorecard with excellent outside tools like, for your finance, Corealytics Financial Dashboard to help you manage your business. It will give you the metrics that you care about and can pinpoint and put onto this scorecard that are the most important to you. Customer, MSP Score for client ratings. As they put it, when you're ready to know what your clients really think, they're an outsourced company that will basically poll your clients and see to it that you get a valid, valuable MSP score for whether your clients will refer you to their friends. As we say, word of mouth advertising is so powerful, and we do business with people we know, like, and trust. An MSP score basically narrows it down to, will your clients refer you to someone else? And if the answer is yes, then that's all you need to know to tell you if that client is happy with your services or not. For your process, considering most of its service delivery through a PSA type tool, BrightGauge is a great company that can give you a dashboard and reporting for your MSP that will tell you about the numbers that you care the most about, again, to put on your scorecard. Learning and growth, which really comes down to innovation, training, collaboration, webinars, conferences, coaching, whatever it takes. Look into companies like Fred Pryor, who has online courses and in-person courses for everything from HR to project management, the website Linda, and there are countless sites out there for these kinds of things. You can find a link on the resources page of my website and the first page of my resources in this slide deck for each of the external tools I mentioned. They are who I consider to be best of breed in the industry for what they do. I also have noted a white paper on documenting processes on the resource slides. Of course, if you need help building your solid, balanced scorecard, you should always reach out to someone when you need to, because getting it right here could mean all the difference in getting to the next level or packing everything up and going home. Now, I have 3 more tools for you. These are meant to help you build your business identity and get your business to the next level. First tool for any size company. It's more of a philosophy than a tool, but I'm sure you get the idea. Kaizen is a Japanese term meaning change for the better. It's a way of establishing a culture of continuous improvement in anything it is applied to. At its heart, it relies on continuous incremental improvement. It has been referred to as the tortoise way. I'm sure you've heard the saying, it's a marathon, not a sprint. This means it doesn't all have to happen tonight, today, tomorrow. You don't have to fix everything in one shot. My message to you is to become familiar with the Kaizen way of continuous incremental improvement, not necessarily to become a Kaizen managed company, although that wouldn't be a bad thing, but to learn the most powerful philosophy for cultivating everything you do. It asks for innovation to meet requirements and increase productivity. Again, refer to the book Drive, think autonomy, mastery, and purpose. Second tool, again for any size company, adopt a set process for solutions to critical thinking and root cause analysis. Use your own or revise this one. Just have one that the team can use for many of the things that they have to tackle and can consider a standard of how we deal with things when they come up. Third tool for any size company, although some will tell you it's only for bigger companies, and it's not. Here is an old but reliable and very simple tool to help you formulate your future. The McKinsey 7S framework was developed by Robert H. Waterman Jr. and Tom Peters in the early 1980s. Of course, Tom Peters is the author of In Search of Excellence. He is and has been for decades one of the leading management strategy gurus. We start with shared values. They are the core, and all other elements surround it. Think culture and compass. Surrounding elements are staff, strategy, style, structure, system, and skill. The ultimate goal and intention is that all elements be aligned and mutually reinforcing. The key to it is to use it to ask the right questions to generate the much needed answers in order to make the critical decisions for your business. If one element is off, you spin off balance and potentially in the wrong direction. It is an important tool to evaluate and align your organization. Think of all of this like being a plumber or a carpenter or an electrician. One person shop or small company. Everyone has to have the basic tools to get the job going. Think of these three tools as the screwdriver, plier, and hammer for your business development. With these in your toolbox, you have what you need to fix or repair 95% of what you come up against. Steps to success. Do your honest business assessment and validation. Determine your competitive advantage. Determine your competitive strategy. Decide on your offerings, services, and products. Decide who is and who is not your ideal client. Define the box. Decide what your values are. Determine your culture and compass. Build a pyramid and tell the world. Set realistic goals and metrics. Select your tools for success. And then execute, execute, execute. Final notes. Probably the biggest reason so many individuals and companies don't bother with a mission or vision is they hate the idea and the work of it so much. And unless they change their behavior or their mindset, that will follow through to everything they do as an individual and as a company. But if you can formulate these things and build your pyramid and show it to others, you will have a beacon for everyone to follow, a true purpose and meaning to the work that you do, and an immense amount of value. And these things, I personally know, are some of the biggest competitive advantages you can build for yourself and your company. To steal a line from the movie Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come. And to add my own favorite saying, and hopefully it will help the world turn in the right direction on balance. Thank you so much for your time, and I do hope you enjoyed the presentation. I have 2 slides of resources coming up, and I will let them sit on the screen for a few minutes each so you can look them over. If you have any questions at any time about anything I present here, please don't hesitate to shoot me an email, and I would be happy to respond. Again, thank you for your time, and good luck in all your endeavors.